Pluribus Episode 4 has just been released on Apple TV, and we get another excellent addition for Vince Gilligan's new show. The fourth episode introduces us to an important new character, the same one Carol tried contacting in episode 3. And with all things Carol, we learn that she's ready to dig a little deeper and start taking some bigger risks to get to the bottom of the hivemind. So in this spoiler review and explained analysis, I'm going to be giving you my breakdown of Pluribus Episode 4 entitled Please Carol, alongside discussing my general thoughts towards it. Before I get into it though, if you want to see much more on Season 1 of Pluribus, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating and subscribing to the channel. But without further ado, let's dive into my review and breakdown of Pluribus Episode 4. So 4 episodes in, Pluribus still feels like an unusually lonely place for Carol Sturcker, a deeply unhappy woman surrounded by a blissful hivemind. But fans of the new Apple TV series are about to discover that she isn't the only person who feels cut off. Episode 4 finally brings in a new figure in Manousos, the enigmatic other who, like Carol, remains untouched by the sweeping infectious joy that transformed the rest of the world. And for the rest of the episode, we do get more focus on Carol herself, who's investigating more deeply what could have happened. She questions Zosia and the Joined, and then makes some risky moves to do something about it. Starting with the opening scenes with Carlos Manuel Vesca's Manousos, we know that this new character was first referenced in episode 2 when Zosia told Carol that there were 11 people like her. She followed this by saying that there were now 12, thanks to a man in Paraguay that they learned about that same morning. Since Manousos wasn't among the group's 5 English speakers, Carol didn't get a chance to meet him or learn about him. But after her tense encounter with those 5 and the revelation that Manousos had withdrawn from communicating with anyone following the global shift, her interest grew, prompting her to reach out to him. Well, on top of learning that he was an unjoined, Zosia told Carol in episode 3 that he also runs a self-storage business and has been somewhat hesitant to connect with anyone else impacted by the supposed extraterrestrial event. Even though he speaks Spanish, Carol persuaded Zosia to call him, hoping that he might help her with the alarming new circumstances. Zosia made the call, Carol tried to introduce herself, and Manousos immediately hung up. On her second attempt, he snapped, saying "leave me alone," followed by cursing. And furious, Carol had Zosia call him one last time, and on that attempt, she fires back with her own curses. The end of episode 4's Manousos opening shows this phone call from his perspective, offering an initial window into his life. It shows that he's not just more withdrawn than Carol, but also significantly more wary of the others. He's so distrustful of them that he's even boarded up his office windows and deliberately destroys the food they try to give him. Instead, he chooses to survive on dog food and packets of sugar that he's taken from his customers' storage units, preferring that over any interaction with the others. Probably the most interesting part of our time with Manousos though is seeing him tuning a radio and setting a timer as he waits for any hint of human activity. He carefully logs every detail in a notebook. His exhausted posture and deliberate stretch in this scene suggest that he's been at this routine for quite a while. We also get a look at his cramped office, outfitted with multiple lamps and a small TV. He stands out because the others took longer to track him down than the other immune individuals, and if he truly has strong radio expertise, he might have used those skills to interfere with the hivemind's shared consciousness, making himself harder to find. That tactic may have worked at first, but it was only a matter of time before they found him. Since the joining stems from an RNA sequence transmitted through radio signals, it's reasonable to think that the others eventually figured out what he was doing, shut down whatever frequency he was using to shield himself, and finally located him. But if Manousos is indeed a specialist in radio or signal technology, then he could play a larger role in undoing the joining. The hivemind is held together by a kind of psychic adhesive created from a reverse-engineered virus developed in a lab using the RNA-based radio signal that humanity uncovered. Cracking the mystery of that signal is therefore essential to understanding it and possibly discovering a cure. And right now, who's more likely to decipher it than someone who seems to be an expert in radios? Of course, he'd still need the help from someone with real scientific expertise to decode the RNA component of this strange transmission. So if there's another unjoined person with that kind of knowledge, then it's easy to imagine that Carol, Manousos, and this potential third figure would join to try and break the hive mind. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but yes, I think Manousos is going to try to use his radio skills to again try something undetected. Maybe that's to contact Carol back, or maybe it's to decipher something else to do with the hive mind. The actor of Manousos had shared in press for Pluribus that his character had endured significant loss and refuses to let anything else slip away. And since, as Zosia noted, that the group didn't even know Manousos existed for the first 33 hours, then there's plenty left to uncover about him. It will be fascinating to see how his journey compares to Carol's and whether the two might eventually cross paths. I think they will, and I think Manousos' reaction to Carol's call says it all. He writes her name down, possibly leading to him wanting to make a bigger connection to her. From here, we transition back to Carol's world, where the previous episode left us with uncertainty around Zosia and the grenade aftermath. This one shows her begin to compile what she learned about the hive mind's behaviour. She returns home from the hospital in a police car and sees Joined cleaning up the mess from the following night's explosion. She notices that one of the Joined is the Albuquerque mayor, and this is apparently the real-life mayor there too. But once inside, she starts writing notes on a whiteboard, one that already had plans for her next White Caro novel. In trying to find some answers to these questions, Carol decides to interview one of the hive mind clearing up the wreckage of her house outside and put him to a test. She suspects that the Joined cannot lie, so she asks Larry about something deeply personal. She asks him how her late wife Helen felt about her work. The answer she gets is blunt, in that Helen thought it was harmless rather than giving it glowing praise. So the confirmation that the Joined in the hive cannot lie does shake Carol. His revelation gives her both leverage and fear that if they truly can't lie, then everything they claim is real, and the risk of joining them and losing her agency becomes more urgent. Next, we then see Carol visiting Zosia in the hospital. She presses Zosia on another key question, asking whether the joining can be reversed. Zosia remains silent or evasive, but given that she cannot lie, Carol infers from her limited response that yes, reversal is possible. So this moment crystallizes Carol's mission, as she wants free will for the world back, and she doesn't want to be subsumed. Zosia comes back at her, saying that the hive mind knows what it is like to be human, but she doesn't know what it's like to be one of the hive mind. Carol agrees to that statement, but she also wants to keep being her. Their conversation is tense and also emotionally charged as we further learn a bit more about Carol's past. We learn that in the past, her mother pushed her into a conversion camp as a teenager, which she hated, and that this experience is another reason why she is against the hive mind's invitation to join. So clearly, she doesn't want any part of that. With that, Carol begins to take matters into her own hands. She breaks into the hospital pharmacy and steals a truth serum sodium thiopental and disguises it as asking for heroin. When back home, she flushes the heroin down the toilet and instead tests the serum on herself. She records a video of her altered state, slurring, emotional, and honest about things that she wouldn't normally admit. And notably, she even expresses how she's attracted to Zosia. This is all a part of her experiment, as if the hive mind can't lie, then maybe this serum will force the truth out of someone who is a part of them. This brings us to the ending of episode 4, and we learn that Carol has made her way back to the hospital to test out the serum. Carol wheels Zosia out of the hospital and injects her with the truth serum via her IV drip. As it starts to kick in, Carol asks Zosia how to reverse the joining. But when this happens, the hive mind begins to surround her in numbers. Zosia collapses and the surrounding hive mind, while tearing up, chants "Please Carol" in unison. It's interesting that the hive mind can feel sadness, and it makes you wonder why exactly. For a second, were they actually showing the sadness they feel for the whole situation surrounding the suppression of individuality? Or was it sadness directed towards Carol's actions? We currently do not know, and we don't even find out the answer to Carol's main question of reversal. She watches on, and the episode ends with the hivemind mobilizing to save Zosia from cardiac arrest. So episode 4 deepens the stakes for Carol as she learns that the hivemind truly cannot lie and finds out that there may be a way to reverse the joining. She had been doubting everything they said, but now she has a handle on a test. That opens possibilities but also dangers, as if they can't lie, then what they say is binding, and Carol may be forced to accept truths she doesn't like. Carol repeatedly fights the hivemind because she fears losing what makes her human in her flaws, anger, and choices. The ending emphasizes this as she literally handcuffs herself, tries to force the truth, and drags someone else into danger. Her agency is being undermined by a situation she put herself in. The question is, with her fighting to have her agency back, is it really the right thing to do? Or is what the hivemind are alluding to with everyone being joined the way things need to be? Carol's actions in using a truth serum on Zosia are definitely questionable, and in risking her life even if she believes it's justified. And on top of this, the ending doesn't resolve the big questions, as instead it just raises them higher. Will the hivemind allow reversals? Is Carol already too far gone to trust? And is Manousos the potential key? While having none of these answers, it's clear that dynamics are shifting, and with Carol trying to push things further, it makes me wonder whether we'll get any hint of the hivemind pushing back a bit. So what are my overall thoughts on the new episode? Well, Pluribus episode 4 marks a key turning point in this haunting, thought-provoking sci-fi drama. This installment does a superb job of deepening the mystery by introducing Manousos, a previously unseen immune individual whose isolation in Paraguay offers a stark counterpoint to Carol's own existential loneliness. We watch him scanning radio static in a self-storage unit, surviving on scraps, and resisting contact with the outside world, a grim, poignant portrait that somewhat adds new emotional weight to the series through a different lens. It opens up fresh narrative possibilities without sacrificing the show's slow-burning philosophical core. Rhea Seehorn continues to anchor the episode with her trademark mixture of weary sarcasm and sharp intelligence. Carol remains the reluctant rebel, the one who refuses to just go along with the hivemind, and it's here that she seems more determined than ever to understand who else might share her fate. Meanwhile, the writing by Alison Tatlock delivers a steady rhythm to the episode, balancing bleakness and dark humour in a way that feels very much in line with Vince Gilligan's vision. The episode leans into the existential questions more and the quiet, painful fractures of human connection. The direction by Zetna Fuentes further captures both the intimate moments of personal despair and the broader ominous sweep of a world under this hivemind. It's a testament to the show's craft that even without big set pieces, the episode never slows down in significance. It feels like a bridge, yes, but a vital one, taking us deeper into the moral and emotional terrain of the story and central character. That said, I do think that this was the weakest of the four. The pacing isn't as perfected as the previous three, and I was left wanting a little bit more on Manousos and a tad more on the mechanics of the joining. Of course, this will all likely come, but I do think that there was room for more here. Overall though, episode 4 is another strong chapter in this first season. It expands the world of Pluribus meaningfully, enriches the emotional stakes, and keeps the philosophical questions front and centre. If you're drawn to TV that's more reflective, and you appreciate character-driven science fiction with a dark edge, then this episode will likely resonate deeply and leave you eager for more in the weeks ahead. But that was my spoiler review and explained analysis for Pluribus episode 4. I will be doing a video on my theories and predictions for episode 5, so keep a lookout for that and stay tuned to my channel for more breakdowns on the show. But to those who have already seen episode 4, what are your thoughts on all the events that went down, and what are your current theories on where this is all going? Let me know down below in the comment section. For much more videos on Vince Gilligan's Pluribus, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.